prior to the race, the FIA, they seemed to rush the photo of the drivers kneeling, standing, whatever. Ham did not like that. He went on social media to mention that, and he actually mentioned that during a few interviews. He actually had words also for Grosjean, who he felt didn't respect it enough, Romain Grosjean. And then even Mario Andretti came out, a legend in racing in general, came out stating that Ham is creating a problem that does not exist in the sport. That
is so...
Yeah, it's... I can't agree with Mario Andretti. We only have the one black driver.
Just look at all the personnel. Take a picture of all the personnel in the paddock, and you can clearly see, one, they're lacking diversity as far as,
and not just the drivers, right?
Not just the drivers. I'm talking about the entire paddock, and it's not only different races, but it's also women. Very little women there too. Diversity is a big problem all across the board in this sport because there's not enough people. Now, I'm not saying, listen, I don't know what the hiring practices are, but if your sport is not reflecting how the rest of the world is, as diverse as we are, especially a sport that is worldwide, has a worldwide audience, then yeah, man, you have a diversity problem.
I think that Mario Andretti is really kind of missing the boat in general by saying that it's a problem that doesn't exist. It's what we always talk about, that a lot of people don't understand or don't see a problem because it's not personally affecting them. Yeah, to me, if I'm a rich white guy, which I'm not, of course it does, that problem doesn't exist to me. But Hamilton is, we've talked about it before on this podcast, where Hamilton had major issues in Spain, Monza, etc., wherever he would travel, that the fans would wear blackface, they would call out crazy stuff to him. It's the type of situation that just by creating initiatives, by trying to get, I don't know, more minorities involved. Problem with F1 is that it has not just a racial problem, but it has a wealth gap problem, because now there's so many pay drivers, and that's just the whole thing is just so expensive that's just the way it's trending. So these are two huge negatives for creating diversity. And one thing that I see, and it's the same old story every time something like this comes up, especially when you talk about race, is that everybody stands up once. So from what my understanding is, in the first race, they let the drivers have a moment, decide. Well, have a moment. The FIA gave them a spot where they can either kneel or stand up, and they put, the end racism T-shirts and stuff like that. After that first race, that courtesy was not being extended anymore. Yeah, they're wearing the T-shirts. Yeah, some of them are kneeling, some of them are standing, but it seems like they're rushing them. I think even Antonio Giovinazzi came and he couldn't even have time to put on the shirt. He just put it he tucked it into his overall so you could see that his show. Yeah, they're not making any more money off of it, I guess.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing. The solution is always, let me mention it once just so people can see that, yeah, no, we're against racism and we got to end it. And then after that, it's not talked about anymore. Meanwhile, all these things keep happening to people of color. And this is why Lewis Hamilton keeps saying, and he keeps talking to other drivers, and he keeps saying, listen, this is a problem that we have to talk about all the time, because it's not a problem that's going to go away overnight. And if we have a worldwide platform, I am the best driver in the world, possibly the best driver to ever do it. Please, and he's literally carrying the sport right now. Please give me a platform to end this, because this is not a political issue. This is a social issue. This is a human rights issue that we need to talk about in order for us to solve it. And obviously people are not getting that message. That's why we have to keep talking about it.
I think on that aspect, yeah, that we also have to. They're not doing enough, but I'm not 100% educated on this. Obviously, I don't watch too much news, so I'm not too much in depth into the, what sport is doing what. But we gotta go back. Remember, Kaepernick was doing it by himself, and he got ousted out of his sport. Now, what he was doing cut so much track, and racism was brought up to the front. We also have to give credit to Formula One. They brought it to the front. They're the only sport that
it wasn't Formula One
F1,
though.
by the way.
It wasn't
But football
Formula
has
One. It
not
was
brought
Lewis
to the
Hamilton
front
that
like
did it.
Formula One just did. And it was remember, the kneeling started in football. You know?
Did
So
you,
But-
that's
but that's-
did you hear what Yancey said?
Say that again?
But it wasn't Formula One that did it. It was Lewis Hamilton that did it. Lewis Hamilton called out the drivers. Lewis Hamilton is calling out Formula
By
One.
being,
So it wasn't Formula One that doing it. And the only reason that they did it, and they probably would have stayed away with it from it, is because Lewis Hamilton did it. And they have to listen to Lewis Hamilton because he is the world champion and he is breaking all the records.
So that's why I said I'm not 100% educated on this subject. So I thought the slogan "We race as one" came from that.
No, the re-race as one was something that was pre-thought, and it was actually
Because of
more. No. It wasn't. It wasn't really because of COVID. It was more aimed for pride.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. So,
Yeah,
so,
so it wasn't.
Rainbow.
So pretty
Yeah,
much
so
back
that-
into
yeah,
the
it was-
racism
it was
in
for-
the
it
sport
was-
and stuff
it was
like that,
for
which I know
pride.
exists. You know, like you say,
And racism, those T-shirts and racism came out because it was Lewis Hamilton that called out the drivers and called out FOM, Formula One as a whole. And that's why they're doing it. And obviously what they're trying to do is what any other sport does, is that they're saying, yeah, sweeping it under the rug, like if it's not a problem, which it clearly is a problem. And this is why Hamilton keeps talking about it. And I think he's starting the Hamilton Initiative, where he wants to bring in not only drivers of different races and different backgrounds, but also engineers and people who work on these teams and mechanics and all of that.
Where do I sign up? Where do I
No.
sign up?
Yeah, where do we sign up? Also,
I don't
what I
know,
recommend to
but
people,
let's
that
find
cannot,
out.
I guess maybe affiliate too much because obviously they have not lived in the situation. There is a good Netflix movie. It's called Uppity, and it was a African American driver, I believe in the 70s, and he just couldn't make it because of the color of his skin. Pretty
We'll
much.
put that. What's it called? Uppity.
Uppity, yes.
We'll put that into the show notes.
That's a very good movie to watch, to affiliate, to see, because unless you lived it or gone through it, you understand more. But that's a very good perspective where he pretty much tried everywhere, and they did not. They did not. He just kept getting a lot of hurdles to be able to prospect.
I mean, that's what happens, and that's the things that a Mario Andretti would not be affected by. Mario Andretti would not be quote unquote Mario Andretti if he was a different skin color.
Exactly. And as Hamilton said, I think he said on his Instagram, these are the type of attitudes that exist in the sport. And he's obviously been in the sport, so he's experienced this, 10 times worse than anybody else, being the first black driver to do anything in Formula One. And then you had the whole issue with Bernie Ecclestone, and that's why he even got stripped of his title, his honorary title in Formula One management. These are the types of attitudes that are making the decisions. And these are the types of attitudes that we literally got to get rid of. I'm not saying, I should let them kick them out. I'm just saying talk to them and make them see the perspective of a person of color and the struggles that they go through in life and period. Again, it's not a political issue. This is a social issue. This is a human rights issue. And we are entitled to our rights as human beings, regardless of our color.
Yeah, this is a subject it's not going to end for a while. And I like talking about it because I believe every time it comes up, I educate myself a little more as well.
And that's what we have to do. We have to talk about it.
Exactly.
I mean, you guys already know my feelings. As long as we all have open minds when we talk about it and not listen to propaganda against either side, then we're all moving forward, at least.